Um, we sent out a message earlier on in confirming the identities, but I just want to follow that up in person. We have identified all 5 deceased in the household at this point. The 5 names are Jason Todd Reddy, Lisa Medeiros, Amber Medeiros, Jim Hoyt, and Lily Medeiros. Right now, our investigation is leading us to believe this is a murder-suicide. Again, that's preliminary information. What we need to do in the following 2 days is there's going to be an autopsy. That autopsy should be suspected to be done before the end of business tomorrow. And we need that autopsy and ballistics information to verify what the investigators believe happened. From here, our investigation and the homicide has concluded. Our team of investigators and detectives will be leaving that scene from the Gilbert Police Department. We'll be leaving. That portion is over. From here, what they're going to be doing, again, is the autopsy by the medical examiner's office. All the bodies are at the medical examiner's office right now. They're going to be doing background information on all of the deceased as a normal course of their investigation. They'll also be looking into the neighborhood. They're doing another neighborhood canvass throughout the day to see if there's any other witnesses that we haven't yet identified. Right now, the FBI is currently on scene with us. They're going to continue a short investigation, and the FBI is part of the Joint Terrorism Task Force as a result of the munitions that were found and the ordinances that were found. As a result, what delayed us yesterday in our investigation was when they located military-grade munitions and ordinances in the household and 2 barrels of chemicals that were later identified. So right now, the Joint Terrorism Task Force is trying to identify with their investigation why those items were there. And obviously I can't speak about what the FBI and Joint Terrorism Task Force is doing. That's their investigation, but that's where we're at today. So right now is when they're beginning their investigation into that, now that our homicide is concluded. Again, for the neighborhood, all the munitions were removed last night, including the chemicals. That was all been removed, and it's a safe location. There's no need to worry. That's our update at this point right now.
Do we have a motive?
That's one of the things we're looking into right now. We feel safe to say that this is a domestic violence related issue, that there was an argument, and this is purely a domestic situation.
And can we confirm that J.T. Reddy was indeed the shooter?
Right now, that's what our investigation is leading us to believe. Again, that has to be verified, though, through the medical examiner's office and through ballistic testing.
What sort of scenario can you give us to lead you to believe this was a murder-suicide and that he was the shooter?
And that's part of the investigation. So the training the detectives have received is, gunshot wound locations and those items, and we're not going to specifically get into those now until they're all verified by medical examiner. But just the scene itself, the condition of the victims, how they were found at the scene. And what I could add too is we located the 2 females and the baby were inside the household, and then the 2 males were outside the household. I don't think I put that information out yesterday. There was a witness within the home. Unfortunately, we don't have an eyewitness in this case. The witness heard arguing, heard gunshots, came from a back bedroom, and located the bodies. And that was one of the people that did call 911.
Was the witness injured?
The witness was uninjured.
And the witness is the 16-year-old girl?
I don't have her age. I'm sorry.
Did all 5 people live at that home?
No, there was 3 people that lived at home: Jason Reddy, Lisa Medeiros, and I'm sorry, just those 2. Excuse me, just those 2 lived at that home.
Where does the investigation go from here, and how soon will we know a motive?
The investigation, I stated earlier, we have an autopsy scheduled. We have some background information to get. That's the next couple days. Ballistics testing and motive, again, is going to be, if that comes up in the background information, with us searching the search warrants, reviewing documents, we have a pretty in-depth investigation to proceed at this time. We don't have a clear motive at this point. Again, hopefully that'll be revealed in the coming days.
Besides the gunshots heard by Brittany Medeiros, was there any other information she was able to offer?
I don't have any specific information on what she offered. We're not going to get into the specific details on what was offered.
What kind of military grade condition was
I will not give that's not our investigation to talk about. So
What were the chemicals?
again, those two things are not our investigation to talk about. So we are there for the homicide. I can't speak on behalf of the Joint Terrorism Task Force. I can only speak on behalf of our homicide investigation.
Did you have calls previously for domestic violence incidents at the home, Bill?
I know there were previous calls for domestic violence situation, yes.
How many?
That I don't know.
Dealing with the individuals who are involved in this?
With JT Reddy and Lisa?
You know, I was briefed this morning. I'm sorry, I didn't get the specific on how many or who specifically was involved. We did respond to the House previously for domestic violence, but I don't have specifically who was there and what those investigations revealed at this point.
Does it look like the youngest victim in all this was intentionally shot or may have been an accidental victim in all this?
I don't have that information for you.
Bill, can you dispel any sort of suggestion that this was some sort of a drug cartel hit on JT Reddy and these people?
Yes, at this point, our investigation is directing us towards murder-suicide, that there was, at this point, no outside players at all. Again, we need to verify that information with scientific evidence from the medical examiner's office and ballistic testing.
Just to reiterate, the only reason the FBI is involved is because of the munitions and the chemicals, correct?
Yes.
Are we suspecting any type of domestic, or not domestic violence, domestic terrorism?
I can't speak to that. Gilbert Police Department's investigating a homicide.
Bill, did this appear planned at all? Was there any note left, any indication that this was planned out ahead of time?
Right now, there is no indication of that. There's no indication of that. Any other comments at this point would probably be more speculative. This is the information I have that's concrete. If anything changes throughout the day, our plan is to do another press briefing. We'll notify you of that. If anything changes, if the focus of the investigation goes a different way, we don't anticipate that happening. We assume that we're going to get some more information throughout the day, so we'll plan another briefing at 4:30 here to do this. But in between time, unless this drastically changes, unless this goes a different way, we'll send that out immediately by email to all your desk assigners, and then we'll tell you when we'll have another briefing. But until then, we're just going to wait till 4:30 and do another live briefing.
Can I ask one last question, please? Because we've talked with neighbors who are obviously shocked and saddened. This isn't something you guys deal with every day. How are your officers and the folks who responded, and how are you guys handling this?
You know, yesterday in the early evening, our officers received a debriefing. We call them a peer support debriefing from trained officers and trained detectives, just to handle the human aspect of this. You know, I haven't, and we really wouldn't talk too much about it, but they're trained to allow our officers to get this information off their chest, to talk about, you know, how they feel about this and what impact it may or may not have. It just gives an opportunity for them to have a healthy career. So, you know, it's obviously a horrific event. It's tragic. Our hearts go out to the family members of the victims involved here. It does have an impact, a human impact on us, as well as the whole community. So, again, our hearts go out to the family members in this, and I don't know that I've said that before at this point, but, you know, we've been focusing on the investigation. But this is sad, and we're going to spend the next couple days wrapping this up.
Bill, do you know which weapons were used at this point?
I don't, Jim. I don't. Okay. And I'm going to conclude now. Thank you for your patience,
Thank you
folks.
very much.
Okay.
Really quickly, JT Reddy is